Alright, welcome to my second Devastator build video. I do have a first one on YouTube. Feel free to check that one out. I'm going to quickly just scroll over all my weapons and abilities so you guys can see what I've got. These weapons, very important. I've got the Radiation Splash for the vulnerability. They all have Skillful Life Leech for the healing. I do use the Sandstorm just because it's stronger than the Meteor, and I'm only using it once every 5 seconds. I'm probably only using it once every 15 or 30 seconds, but because I don't use it as much, that's why it's better for me than Meteor. Plus, again, the Heir to the Desert has Skills Life Leech. I went over all my mods there, using stuff like the Untamed Power and stuff like that. These are my skills. This is a debuff build, so I use the Gravity Leap to debuff by up to 300% with Despair, and I'm punching with Strong Arm of the Anomaly, and that gives me Anomaly Power, which increases my punches, and I've got Strong Arm Law, which, you know, is allowing me to do double damage, and I've got that 100% damage mod, so it's actually a 400% melee damage buff, and my melees crank up. Like, I can punch someone for 170,000, punch him again for 760,000, and then punch it. I've gotten my punches up to 4.5 million, but that's only if I melee into a large group of people, then another large group of people, and then do my double jump and vulnerability on someone first, which is not usually the case. But on top of that, my Untamed Power is constantly going off. The thing about this build is its damage is spread out across the board. It's not doing like one thing for damage. It's doing a lot of different things for its damage. Anyway, that's like a lot of people, they'll have a Moaning Winds build, and 90% of their damage is Moaning Winds. So they'll have a build that's using Earthquake, and maybe 50% is from Earthquake, 50% is from Moaning Winds. If Moaning Winds gets nerfed, that's like half their damage. This build is not like that. My Moaning Winds is doing maybe like 20% of my damage on average. That 20% is true for most things in this build. I'm doing a nice, pretty close to even spread of damage with, maybe a 10k difference between them. The reason for making this video was that my last video did not have good quality audio. The last video does cover things in more detail than I will cover here. I'd went over the whole build just much quicker with this. The skill tree much quicker. I'm not going to talk about every little thing. I'm also making this video on request from another YouTuber who has a pretty good Devastator build. He felt that his was the best, and it is definitely good. It is one that I've seen a little bit out there, or similar ones out there, but his name is PVT Sector Gaming, or at least that's his channel. Please go check them out, give me some love. And his Devastator is definitely good. His Devastator is easier to build than mine. Mine is an in-game only Devastator. It has 8 tier 2 mods. His does not. So if you want to get something going sooner and easier, definitely go with his build. I would highly suggest that. But then later down the road, I think this build has the potential to be amazing. I just killed that alpha in, like 5 seconds. And these guys that I'm bringing with me, they're low tiers. Like one guy, Bangs, he's like a tier 7. So he's not ready for this. He's going to be dying a lot. He's not going to be. The other guy, he's just made it to tier 15s through essentially mostly being carried. He's going to have some decent damage, but again, he's not really ready for this. He should really be running tier like 12s or 13s where he's at, until he has enough experience. However, I'm carrying both of these guys with my Devastator, and as a debuff Devastator, I will actually increase the damage more when they focus on anything that I hit. Anyway, back to what I was saying, PVT Sector Gaming had actually requested that I did a video where I'm carrying 2 people, because on my original Devastator I did a solo. And I did the same thing with this video as I did with my other one, and I was going to do this with all my runs. I'm going to record it one time only. I'm not going to make multiple attempts. I'm not going to keep doing this over and over until I get like the best possible run to show you guys. I'm going to show you a very average run. If I fail and I don't make it, that's where it's going to end. I don't think that's going to be the case because this thing is so... It's not built to be a tank, but it is tanky. So I should build it easy to take these guys. Will we get gold? I don't know. We could fail. If that's the case, I'm going to keep that in the video. But you're still going to see the damage output that I'm doing just for fighting. And I don't think time is important. I don't think time is anything. I think damage at the end is very important. but I don't think damage is anything either. Because like I said, two of these guys aren't really ready to entirely be here. At least one guy's definitely not ready to be here. But you can play, you know, a map for an hour and have people keep spawning at some of those like obelisks. You can do 900 million damage. This map specifically has a higher percentage amount of bad guys in it, so usually you'll see higher damage from this map. It's not all about the damage that you do. And it's not all about the time, because if you're carrying two people like this, obviously it's going to happen. If you screw up, you know, your time can take that longer. If you're playing with people that are doing decent, you're all going to only have 1 to 200 million, but you're getting 7 minutes. Where if you're carrying two people, it's going to be more of a 13 to 17 minute probably run if you're doing a good run. But you're probably going to be seeing damage numbers about it. I've actually ran this with these guys before the video once. Because I wasn't recording, I was just playing with them. Like, hey, let me go ahead and do this again for, you know, to record for YouTube, see what guys don't. And I got over 500 million damage. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to have 500 million this time, but again, it could be very different. And what it is, it is. And honestly, I don't feel like I'm doing very good at this one. I think I'm definitely not. Just looking at how I'm doing, I'm not going to play with my probably not even close. But we'll see. We'll see what I do. I do feel confident, though, that I'll be able to break at least 400. I'll get that around it, even if I mess up a little. And like I said, this build isn't all about my damage. If I'm playing with better people, this build gets stronger because it allows my teammates to do anywhere between 315 and 360% more damage if they focus on things that I don't want. And then they can melt them. So with stronger players, this build actually gets better. Your damage is going to go down, but your teammates' damage is going to go way, way up. Because like I said, this is a debuff build, but it's still popping up. I'm defensive because of my natural skills as a Devastator. You get naturally 30% more armor. Going down the bottom tree, there's a skill you get 20%. So just not even putting anything in defense, I'm going to have 50% more armor. Also, there's a natural, I think it's 15% up to your health. And, you know, instead of having like 18k health at, you know, max level 50 here, I've got 20k. I mean, some of these things you might not want to quote me on. I don't claim to be the all-knowing, all-best. I'm not even claiming this is the best build. But I do think that it has the potential to do the most damage out of any Devastator build that I've currently seen. Or to be responsible for the most damage. And by that I mean because you're also going to do the but you have to, it's a hard build to get because you need so many different cards. And it is also a hard build to play. I'm screwing it up constantly with my rotation. And getting the right rotation is very... Like, right now, why are we wasting so much time? Shit. Whatever. The whole point is the... I screw up the rotation a lot. And the rotation is very, very important. You could end up doing, like, half damage. Or even less. Or you could potentially, if you're not getting a double jump on something, you could lose your 300% damage. That's a lot of damage. So the rotation is very, very important. Punching people is very, very important. So, you know, I'm doing jump punch, you see that quite often. And I've gotten my punches to reach 4.5 million before this build. If I punch with people twice, and then I do my despair and have my vulnerability before I hit something, easy 4.5 million. But I'm not usually. Honestly, it looks like my first punch is going to be like 160,000. My second punch, if I do a jump right afterward, it's going to be doing like 760, 780, something like that, 1,000 damage. It just cranks up. You know, I do my jump again, now I'm looking at well over a million for a punch. No problem. That's hitting everybody in the area. But it's not just that. Because every time I'm punching, Untamed Power. Every time I use an ability, Untamed Power. So punch ability, punch ability, punch ability. Untamed Power is hitting everyone in the area. Maybe 200 to 600,000, depending again on the spare. It's just doing massive damage on top of it. So Untamed Power is it's doing, honestly, sometimes more damage than my Moaning Winds. And I could do more with Moaning Winds, but I'm too busy doing damage with all my other amazing things. I only use Moaning Winds when well, there's a whole lot of people, you know, or, oh, I just did my double jump on this Brood Mother. Now let me go ahead and drop my vulnerability, and then my Moaning Winds with that. For both my guns, because that's good damage to the Brood Mothers plus anything else is good. And it seems to do a stagger sometimes too. If I can stagger them, that's amazing, because then they're not attacking. But there's a bad side to that. When they stagger me, they can only make me roll back and you know, not hit them with the Moaning Winds, or the second Moaning Winds. But on top of that, they're going to make where I'm missing out on damage while because after you use your first jump, you got 5 seconds to do the spell. You use your second jump, it takes about 2 seconds between that punch. So you only have about 3 seconds left. If you spend 2 of those 3 seconds rolling backward, you just missed out on huge damage for your character. And there are times when this build drops in damage because of either the rotation or getting punched back. Just depending on how you do it. Honestly, if I wanted to maximize it, when I'm switching back to my primary weapon, I would probably punch in between. I would, you know, use my second Moaning Winds, or first Moaning Winds, punch, second Moaning Winds, switch back to my first weapon, punch, then switch back to my Sandstorm weapon, shoot, then punch, and then back to my rotation. That would be ideal, but a lot of times I'm just rushing back. And like I said, I'm screwing this up a lot, you know. But the big thing is to remember whatever rotation you're doing, you want to do the most damage right after your 2 jumps. Do be careful when new bad guys spawn. Right there you saw I did a jump and canceled it because he wasn't fully on the he's not on the ground or fully on the map. I can't do my leap. And I've been wasted by second Moaning Winds there just because I'm out of habit on how I run him because he was already dead. I could have done that on some other bad guys or something. But yeah, getting those leaps on the big guys so that they're taking extra damage, hitting them with either your spikes to finish them off, or your Moaning Winds, and having that armor activate boosts your damage even more. But, I mean, defensively, I've got the armor on probably, I want to say maybe close to half the time, not quite. But when the armor is off, like right now I'm in the orange spots. Those orange spots from my spikes, from killing someone with my spikes, that's going to give me armor. That's going to give me health regeneration. You know, my spikes will probably come back before my armor. So I can get armor and health regeneration from the spikes that I activated during my armor run, and then activate again for more armor and health regeneration. So I constantly have bonus armor and health regeneration, or I've got that 65% damage reduction, making this guy extremely tanky. Which, I mean, you're supposed to be, you are the tank, but at the same time, it's all things that focus on my offense. My armor is proccing my untamed power and giving me 45% anomaly buff. That's helping my abilities, that's helping my punches, you know, and then my spikes, because I went down the bottom tree, they're doing massive single target damage, and they're actually hitting 3 people at a time. So even get small groups, they're great. I make the mistake quite often of just using them, you know, to proc and to get heals and my untamed power to soften up groups before I go in. I really shouldn't. In all honesty, I should punch large groups to get more anomaly power increase from them, and then when there's only a few people left, spike. But it's very important not to spike the last person when you're waiting to go to a new area or a new thing to spawn. When you get down to the last maybe 3 people, stop using your spikes. It's better to take your time to wait for your charge, your jump to come back, and wait for your melee to cool down, your Moaning Winds. It's better to take 2 or 3 seconds extra time to run over there and, you know, do a leap jump and shoot the guy, rather than spike them and have to wait for 5 seconds. And while that might not seem like a lot, see, I should have killed that guy before I came across. I thought they could handle it. Apparently they can't. I'm trying to shoot him. I can't see. There's so much crap on the thing. My aim is garbage. I just want to peck the guy. It's turning red in the water, but not red on him. But if I peck him, my tornado will finish him off. I just gotta get a little closer. There we go. There's the peck. There's the tornado. Wow, he downed both of them. But my tornado finished it. Okay, got him. And I'm right here by the button. So yeah, stuff like that's costing us a lot of time. that was my bad.
Flood's cleared up. I can reach the pod.
Oh man, he fell down before I could smash him again. Yeah, see, little things like that can screw over your rotation. I was sitting one lead from the next dude. See, there's just a lot of combos where you just do massive damage. And the whole point is, even when I screwed up and I did not have... This is honestly the whole reason for this video, besides me doing the audio practice from the last one, so you can see the combat better. But the guy wanted me to run with you to see how... As I mentioned, you can kill alphas faster, you're kind of killing it slowly, it seems, in your video. You guys are and... Not saying anything bad about his build. His build's a good build. Just the difference between ours, and I thought maybe there's something behind that could help his go to the next level to get it even better. Because I'm killing alphas sometimes. If I've got all my stuff on cooldown, in 5 seconds. Sometimes it's 6. And like even that one, I didn't even have it, and it was gone in like 5 seconds. It was partly because of the punches flip up previous couple of weeks. It might have even been too bait to jump in. Honestly, I couldn't see quite clear. But there are times where I'm fighting an alpha by myself. If I get 2 double jumps on him, you know, it's just jump punch, that takes about 3 to 4 seconds for all that. And then I could do my moaning winds. We're looking at 5, maybe 6 seconds. That's usually enough to kill. And very, very, very rarely, if I didn't punch anyone beforehand, will they survive that with a sliver of health on the players. And I've still got the spikes, I've still got, you know, so on the high end it's taking me usually, if I've got everything ready, and it's just me, maybe he's bumping me, maybe he's bumping me, about 8 seconds to kill it off. On the low end, maybe 4 seconds. Honestly, more ridiculous, honestly, I feel like it's around 8 seconds. When I saw this guy's video, he was still killing the alpha spike good when he was doing his team, debuffing and something like that. But when he was by himself, I saw him behind the cliff, and he had all of his abilities ready. They were all good to go, so it's just like, you know, the best his build should be able to do. And then later he fought one where he didn't quite have everything ready, but he did get it ready as it was time to use it. And these 2 alphas, the first one I saw, it felt like it was taking a while, so I decided to count. The first one was like 13 seconds, and the other one was 16 seconds. And it was just him doing it. And that's where I was like, hey, check out my vid, maybe it does seem like it's taking a while to kill those. His build, though, definitely is better, I think, without AoE, because he uses the triple earthquake. And that's more AoE than siege part. Where with my spike, I can do 3 people and probably about double each of those. It takes a little bit longer to set them all off, but I'm doing them in a rotation anyway. But it is definitely better when you have a single target. However, my thing is, I think he's getting him to about half health with just his earthquake, which is awesome. Where my build has to rev up the damage starts slow, and then it builds and it gets to ridiculous numbers. His sort of just starts off at, I think, essentially 100% of its capability, which is higher than where mine starts, for sure. So if you're running solo and speed runs, I actually think his build is better. So if you run for speed running solos, because he's doing 3 players, those alphas have double the health. He's getting them at about half health with just his punch down. That's probably like 2 seconds worth right there if you do it really quick. And then he'll be able to take out now for 2 seconds, where, like I said, I'm taking out. And also, I'm just considering when your build's at its best. You know, there are times where all my abilities are on cooldown. It's not usually very often, and when that is the case, I still have my moaning winds. So I usually have my moaning winds and have a leading shot. But like right now, you can see I still got my armor active, but my other 2 abilities are on cooldown for 2 seconds. Spikes back. Spikes back. Yeah. But I I do believe that when it comes to carrying people, this is a very good build. When it comes to total damage, if you're playing with your friends who
Alright,
do a lot of
Zahedi.
damage, this is a
I
very
found
good
one of
build
our
for your own
pods.
personal damage,
And as a
and you're
bonus,
buffing
we
your
can all
team.
start bathing
17
again.
minutes is garbage.
Excellent.
Highlight that. But we still made gold. We made gold, even though it's a garbage, horrible top. And I think my damage was pretty decent. Not the best I've done here, but definitely over 400 mil. Definitely not 500. Somewhere between those is my estimate. But we'll see. We'll get it on the screen here. We got 2 logos. Let's see if we got anything good. See what they got first. At your time, pull a little Inferno Seed. That's Iceberg. And what else? Not Titanium. Oh, yeah. Nothing good. Or at least nothing that I need. Honestly, this build's practically finished, so it would be stuff I need for other characters anyway. But that is the build of the playthrough. We'll just look at, and like I said, if they nerf Moaning Winds, this build will still be viable. I'm not going to lose, like, a bunch of my damage. If they nerf any one thing, I'm not going to lose, like, half my damage even. I can focus more on other stuff, is the point. But, or I could do a replacement. But it's more the fact that the damage is so spread out. I'm going to have 3 or 4 top categories of damage. Usually there's about 5 or 6 things at the top of my damage that are all right within each other. They're almost exactly the same depending on how I did my rotation and spread them out. That's what's important, I think, for this build, is it has long-term viability, because they keep nerfing things. I mean, they did a passive nerf on Toxic Rounds just this week, and a lot of people didn't notice it, because now it no longer works whenever you use your abilities. It specifically says when you shoot them. 463 million. Pretty decent. We got 13 million, which is to be expected from Banks because he's lower tier. 118 million from Tick Boom. He actually did really good for himself. But yeah, look here. This is the important bit. Look at this spread here. 89 for Moaning Winds. Usually at the top, not always. Laceration Punch 81. Untamed Power 76. My Impale at 75. And even my Gravity Leap, which is more for just buffing stuff, is at 61 million. And the rest like Sandstorm stuff. But if I was to lose any one of these, I would still be doing, whatever I replace it with, I'd probably still be doing over 400. That's the point. Not to say that you're going to do 400 million every time. Different maps, you'll do different damage. This is one of the higher damaging maps. This is just the same one the other guy ran with, and I want to try to match him. But yeah, that's it. Hope you all enjoy. Have yourselves a great day. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Peace out.